And I don't know if it's a hallucination. I don't even know how to quantify it. If it was a dream, if it was a vision.
There were always times where I was like, this is the moment. This is the moment that I would definitely be down to do that. But it also says it induces psychosis in some people.
Magic! It's fucking magic!
There's no point in trying to look or act smart if you're not happy. Well, I have a weakness. I want to confront it head on. It seriously is like the purest joy I've ever felt in my life.
We met over Andrew Kirby's community online called School, and we connected over our mutual practice of meditation over the last few years that we've both done. You came to me and you said you wanted to try ego meditations, and you wanted to include me because I've made jokes saying that I'm an egomaniac, which probably. So I'm excited to experiment with this and see what happens.
I want to do ego meditations, yes. Um, because ego meditations are, yeah, I heard about it because someone recommended that I do it. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I realized that like working on like ego is a part of us that we don't really like. We know it exists, but we don't really address it much. And ego meditation is a way to like properly address it and like try to control it, I guess, because there aren't very many ways to control your ego other than I don't know. I, if you like looking at a mirror, saying affirmations, I'm not sure if that directly affects it, but like this was a way that I saw that could like possibly directly affect it.
So it sounds like you want to change something with your ego.
Yeah, that would be cool. And I want to, I just really want to, I'm really keeping an open mind about the effects of the ego meditation. Like, I don't know if it's going to make me more confident or less confident, or if it's going to change me at all. If it's just going to like shift my perspective. If it's going to be a positive or negative thing, I'm really not sure. But I'm like coming into it with an open mind. How about you?
I a similar thing came to mind as far as keeping it open-minded. I am a little bit I'm a little bit skeptical. I'm also a little bit hopeful that there can be some sort of change that makes day-to-day life better. We have both been meditating daily for years at this point. So I wonder what changing the technique will do over 21 days. I'm excited to see. I think it'll be interesting, but I don't want to be too excited because I don't want to cause a placebo effect.
Yeah,
We
that's
we
true.
will be calm and open-minded.
Let go of our inner voice. What do you think the ego is? Like when you think about your ego, like what do you think of it as?
Hmm. Do you have 4 hours
What?
to talk about it? Uh,
Oh. Okay, give me like the summary then. Like the TLDR of what you think the ego is. Like your best bet on what you think your ego is.
there is clearly something going on in all of our heads. The answer that I want to say is I don't know. I feel like that's where I'm at is kind of the healthiest answer. Yes, I can have my experiences and feel a sort of difference between a tight and clingy temporal earthly ego versus perhaps what like Michael Singer would call the seat of the self, or other people would call the capital S self, or God, or the universe, or the source code. There seems to be some sort of feeling when you separate that, because that earthly feeling is needy and clingy, where that other feeling seems to be calm and peaceful bliss. So as far as what it is, I don't know. I feel like perhaps it's the animal part of us, the primal part of us that fights to keep our body, our physical body, in whatever realm this is, alive. Whereas this other side, perhaps this meditative side, this contemplative side, works with it like a yin and a yang.
Has your ego affected you in a positive way or a negative way? Or like does it affect your daily life if it ever does and if you ever notice it?
I'm going to take the shitty answer and say both. It makes me think of, I love this quote from Ram Dass where he says, in this life, you need to remember your Buddha nature and your social security number. And I feel like that sums up much more eloquently what I was trying to say as far as the experience between an ego self and a big capital S universal self, whatever that is. I'm not trying to quantify it, and I don't even know if we can ever know, or at least at this point, what that is. But as far as in a day to day situation, it keeps me alive, it keeps me eating, it keeps me cutting my beard, like staying, normal for society or at least functioning within society. But it also crushes me in a way that's not very fun because there can be times where if we're not accepted by the tribe or things aren't going great within the video game of the physical side, that feels bad also. How about you? Where are you at with, like, what do you think the ego is?
I think my ego is it's my sense of self, like the way I look at myself and the way I perceive myself, basically. It's definitely moldable. I feel like when in like the meditation technique, when you have to like think of yourself as just like this like pure thing within you, like the light or whatever, and everything else is just like the universe, and it's you know what I'm talking about, or do I sound crazy? You know what I'm
No,
talking
no, no. Well, with me, you can say anything. It doesn't matter. I'm the nutcase.
about?
Uh, no, from what it sounds like, you're saying the idea of, are you talking about energy meditation or light or chakra meditation or
um, like yeah, I don't know. It's just like when you have those guided meditations, they sometimes ask you, imagine yourself, like imagine there's a light within you, you are that light. And
sure,
then, like, yeah, because it's like your soul or whatever, like the very inner of your being. So I'm not saying, I think that's me, and my ego is like something that like an aura that covers it slightly. That's what I
oh,
think the ego is, and it's kind of like reflecting on itself. It's kind of like moldable, changing, and yeah. So that's what I perceive the ego to be.
like a protective egg.
Yeah, like a protective energy cloud
Oh,
around my inner light self.
and with that inner light self, where does that connect to?
That's us. That's your fundamental being. It's like a bright, shiny, like ball of light within you. That's you, and when it's like your soul. So when you die or whatever, that's you. And
What does that feel like to you when you tap into that?
I don't know. It's just like emanating. It's like in the middle of your chest. It's like bright. Yeah. It just feels like an outpour of whatever that is. At least that's what happens when the meditation asks me like visualize. So
Like
that's
it
what it
feels like love or peace or happiness or bliss.
it feels like all good things. It feels like a fundamental everything. And I think the fundamental of everything is like something to do with love, definitely. It's like something along those lines. It's like all of those words you just said. It's like the amalgamation of all of those, with a bit of course, like the other side, but it's like incorporated properly into it as well. So it's just a fundamental like oneness in there.
A oneness. Have you felt any sort of odd or what would be considered abnormal visions or feelings throughout any of your meditations?
I don't know if this is normal or like whenever I meditate, like it's like my spine is like straightening, definitely straightening up on its own volition. It's like something's pulling me like upwards, and I can feel like yeah, and I can literally feel my like when I like it moves without me moving it, and that's how I know I'm doing like well, I guess, because it's like something is there, just like pulling me up or whatever. Like instead of when it tells you to relax, you do relax so you don't have tension in your body. But then like your body like straightens itself up out of its own volition. Has that experience like have you experienced that before or
I am a sloucher. um, I also I hmm, I do try and be conscious of my posture as every day when I do it in the morning, I'm sitting in bed. So it's probably not the best place to do it because I'm kind of sinking into it. And I've also just woken up, so I'm a bit of a sloth who's just kind of hunched over. So maybe I should think about that more.
have
That's
you
an
experienced any visions or hallucinations or like anything abnormal while meditating?
I think so. I've had a couple. One of them was a moment I'm standing on this green hill and I'm almost on this like a planet that's small. Like I can see around it almost. Like if I were to run for 10 minutes, I would run around the whole planet. That's how small it was. So I'm on this small green planet and I'm surrounded by just this massive black galaxy with stars twinkling everywhere. And I'm on this hill and I feel this anxiety and terror in my chest. And I look up and there's this huge being in front of me, and it's like 100 feet tall, but its back is to me, and it's blue, and it's wearing like a Roman skirt and Roman sandals, and it's huge and it's scary, and I don't want to see it, but as I think that, I'm pulled towards it, like up into the air. I'm pulled towards it, and as I'm pulled towards it, I'm going around it, and I'm going around, and I'm terrified because I don't know what it's going to be. But when I come up and I'm pulled up into in front of its face, and I look at it, and I see that it's me. I'm the problem. I'm my fear, my anxiety, my obsessive compulsiveness, my depression. I'm all of it. It's me who's doing it to me. And that was a very bizarre flash of an experience that I'm not sure I've ever had before.
How long ago was this?
Huh, I don't know, a few months ago.
Interesting. Was it your first like hallucination or was it the like just your most obviously since you talked about it, it's the most like the one that stuck with you the most or one that really kind of changed the way you self-perceived or you perceived like what you were doing to yourself, you know? But was
Yeah.
it your first hallucination or was it like
Yes, I believe that was, and I don't know if it's a hallucination. I don't even know how to quantify it. If it was a dream, if it was a vision, I don't know. But it certainly felt different than anything else I'd experienced. Very bizarre.
very bizarre? Meditation makes you do bizarre things. Um is there like a goal you have with meditation? I know some people like want to achieve the jhanas or like ascend. You want to maybe do if you believe in it. I don't
Wait,
know.
what was the one word? A Janus? What's that? I don't know what that is.
JHANAS. I haven't done much research into it at all. I just know it because of like peripheral other people in meditation on Twitter have been talking about it.
Okay.
It's like the states, different states you can achieve,
Oh.
and yeah, and then I was gonna also ask you. I don't know if you believe in it, but like astral projection and that sort of thing. Like, okay, that I don't think that's a bit much. But also, like, I also haven't looked into it at all. And yeah, meditation is something you get better and better at. It's like a sport as well, you know. So if you like you have these different experiences, you ascend, I guess that would be super cool to do. I feel so cool with you.
What as far as astral projection, I don't know. I actually don't know enough about it. I have a friend who described an experience that she had doing it,
Cool. Yeah.
and it's always interesting to hear it firsthand from another person because it's their experience. I don't know what their experience is. They've had it, but they're telling me about it.
Maybe some people are more malleable to achieve those states. I don't even know if that actually exists, but the world is big, 8 billion people. That's like crazy amount of people to fathom. So the fact that if some people are like superhuman at physical stuff, so maybe some people's minds are like mentally capable of doing different things. Like 8 billion humans is a lot, you know? Like you never know
What in
what's out
humans?
there.
What in humans is a lot?
8 billion humans.
Oh,
So
8 billions. Eight
like,
billions.
that's
Billion.
a crazy amount of number to fathom. And yeah, there are just so many like yeah, but that's my take on it. But I was so is there like a some type of meditation you definitely want to like achieve like as a result of meditation, aside from being happy and achieving your gamma rays, of course, like and like
Yeah. Yeah.
what about like the wooey sides, I guess, of like that real like silent meditations are interesting. For example, like apparently if you do silent meditations, you can go through your entire childhood at some point, like during the silent meditation. That would be sick.
I've done
So
that was my second vision.
oh really? That's so cool. Like
The
how is it? Tell me more about it if you don't mind.
well, this was actually a sort of devastating memory that I went back into. And I'm not sure I quite want to get into the specifics of that because of people that it includes.
No
Um,
worry.
but I was doing a meditation from there's a woman who's on Instagram called the Holistic Psychologist, and she has written I believe two books at this point, and her point of view I find very interesting. But she had suggested this meditation specifically where you're moving your hips because apparently there's a lot of energy stored in our hips. So because she had suggested it specifically for working through trauma, I wanted to give it a shot. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but I think the second or third, or it was one of the first times I tried it. After about 15 minutes, it was like I was catapulted in the same way that that other vision happened. It was like I was catapulted into this childhood memory. And I was in my house and I was in this room and I was with the people and I could feel everything. And with that, I released like like a primal yell and immediately was overcome with an explosion of emotion. It was like the demons were exorcised. It was wild. I was literally just right here. I was right here on my floor yelling and crying, and it felt
Wow.
it didn't feel masturbatory. Like I wasn't doing it for anybody. I was by myself, but it was just this crazy amount of emotion that I had no control over that just exploded out. Wild.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That like and you didn't feel that you so it did help you work through your trauma like afterwards, like it had long-term effects.
I think so. I
I
was
will check
it,
that out. Yeah, like
yeah.
that's pretty sick. Yeah,
And I don't know if it was because of the amount of time I've been pushing on this stuff to try and bring it up, or if it was the that specific
meditation.
modality, yeah, that meditation itself. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just ready to come out, but it did, and it was a wild sort of experience. So those are the two sort of visions that I had with meditation.
I'd be super happy experiencing even just like one of those like really intense meditation experiences. So far, it's just been like meditation for me feels like you have a bottle that's leaky, as in that's your mind, and it's like it's a bit it's only partly closed. So if you shake it a bit too much or something happens to too much, like a bit of water spills out, it's kind of uncomfortable. It's kind of like yikes. Um, but meditation, like that 10 minutes every morning, like lets you tighten that water bottle up, I guess. And so it's like everything's much more manageable. Like that's the analogy I have for it. Like it helps you just it cleans everything up basically. It's like it smoothes the edges over. So that's how it affects me in particular, meditation.
Like it gives you, it sounds like it gives you a healthy sort of detachment and control over your existence throughout the day.
Yeah, exactly. And it like yeah, it smoothes out the edges. Like it makes me more like it actually makes me not go to extreme emotions too much. Yeah, so that's an interesting side effect, I feel. So that's um that's what I take out from it. But yeah, that detachment I guess is part of it as well. Like when you feel emotion, you're able to be like, okay, I feel this emotion. That's cool. Like how do I actually want to deal with it? And yeah, hopefully that goes for the ego as well, so when we eventually like do it, like we'll be able to understand our egos more, and maybe we'll even have like a different definition of it by the end of the video, so that would be pretty sick.
Oh, that would be interesting if the definition for us changes based on our experience throughout this experiment.
Exactly.
What is the biggest change you've seen in yourself since starting meditation regularly?
Mhm. I'm more I've made better decisions, obviously. I don't know
Okay.
whether yeah, I don't know whether that's like a side effect. Of course, like I'm growing up, the difference between like 16, 17, 18-year olds is like massive, especially
Sure.
maturity and stuff. But like it's just been easier to get through life. Like everything's more clear. Clarity is definitely a big part of it. But the biggest, like most tangible difference I feel is hmm, yeah, I think that now it's just intuitive for me. For example, when I'm angry, like I just it just it's immediately like okay, notice like it's a physical sensation, you know? Like that's
Ah,
yeah, like that's a I don't even think about it. Like I don't even have to like it just it just registers to me immediately and I'm like, okay, like this is what I'm feeling. So how do you actually want to like go about it? Like that immediate thought pathway, I guess, is the most tangible change.
so better control, better decisions, and having access to that pathway with your emotions, you've noticed that it's almost, it's not even, because it seems like a lot of people can get lost specifically on the ends of the spectrum with emotion. And one thing that you made me think about was when I was younger, I thought being successful in life, specifically with emotions and happiness, was to just be happy all the time. But now I've seen that that's two sides of the same coin, because you can't have the happiness without the terror and the pain. What seems to be a more wise position is one in the middle, that equanimity that you were speaking to, where it's not, oh, I need to be jumping off the walls happy, but also I'm not going to be crying right here on the ground. It can be this sort of healthy detachment and acceptance of everything that's happening within this world, and then being able to just act with agency and accordingly and do the best that we can.
Yeah, for sure. It's just that like true happiness. I'm actually doing another video on this where I interview truly happy people. Like
Oh,
they, yeah, like, and the video is called like interviewing truly happy people, and I am picking people who come off as they're like they identify. Of course, I ask them first, like, are you truly happy? But the people I ask like are people who also come off as truly happy, and I actually have both. There's some I asked like a couple of group chats who here identifies as truly happy, like seriously, like because it's for a video and stuff. And some of the people that liked it, I'm like, are you sure? Which
are you sure you're happy? Because you don't seem like it. You seem like you're angry. Like you are the Hulk, and nobody likes you when you're angry, man.
that's definitely not. If they think they truly have, that's amazing. That's like anyway. I don't. I don't know if I'm digging myself a hole here or whatever. But basically, it's like obviously it's it's not on me to decide if they're truly happy or not. Of course, like 100%, I believe that. But that's just like a thought that went through my head, so that's why I'm sharing it. Yeah.
Fair. Well,
Okay,
I
but
also think that speaks to the subjectiveness of happiness, because we could look at somebody else and project our own feelings onto them and be like, oh, they're not happy, when they could be completely content just sitting there. They're fine. They might not, they could have resting bitch face, but they're happy. They're fine. They're okay. They're content where they are. I don't know.
that's true. And I feel like identifying that you are truly happy, like saying, yeah, I'm a truly happy person is already like a big step towards being that, you know? So, and again, like what you said, like this also ties into it. Like true happiness isn't going to be, oh, you're happy all the time. Like that's what I want to ask them. Like, how much of the time are you actually happy? You know, like that type of questioning, like, and just seeing if there's something correlated between all of them. I feel would be super interesting. So yeah, I completely get what you said about equanimity being more like in the middle of, yeah, just accepting existence, I guess, as a whole, with its like ups, its downs, and everything in between.
Everything in between. It makes me think of, I'm reading a book right now from Richard Rohr, and we've discussed this a little bit as far as a sort of second half of life after perhaps achieving things in the real world. But one of the things he speaks to in this book is talking about how it seems that people who are wise or peaceful have a sort of bright sadness where they are able to accept what's happening, and they're not taken down into anything, and they're not brought up into anything. They're able to accept paradox, which bright sadness is a paradox.
I really like that concept. Actually, I think I'm gonna look into it more. Then definitely like that immediately like I would want to write an essay about that or like make a video about that, like bright sadness. That sounds super sad. Like something about that like click. It's really interesting.
As yeah, Richard Rohr is extremely eloquent and beautiful to read.
I've never read any of his work, so that actually might have just pushed me to check something of his out. I feel so. Thank
Yeah, you
you.
might like him. He's Franciscan, so he's from the Catholic Church, but his writings incorporate everything. He is not just bound to Catholicism, and some would say that he is way too far on the edges. And he, but he has been someone who I very much enjoyed reading and contemplating.
Cool. Are you an atheist or do you believe in God? If you don't mind me asking.
No, I'm laughing because I was literally just thinking about this on my walk today. How do I classify what I am? And the thing it's so bizarre that you're asking me that because what I was thinking about was I'm not an atheist, but I also don't see myself as agnostic in a way that from what I understand, the definition is that it's somebody who doesn't believe there can be anything known certain about God. So, where I find myself, and the word that came to mind when I was thinking about it is not agnostic, not atheist. I'm just trying to be open because the more that I learn and read and kneel before people who seem to be very wise and full of equanimity and bright sadness, the more that I hear over and over and over that doubt will always be there and faith is the other side of that, but there's always going to be an unknown, at least for where we're at right now, and at least for where we've been for thousands of years. So I will go with the word open.
That's cool. Yeah, nice. I wish you well on your spiritual journey and being open. If you're open, you keep me fine, you know? It's so use I don't know. Like it's definitely a journey. Like for me as well, I wasn't always very religious, you know, like it definitely I had some detours along the way. I was like, oh, no, but I always knew God existed. It was more like I knew something was there, but I didn't want to put in the work, or like I didn't want all the responsibility like him with it. I know, but I feel like some people take different paths too. Some people are also like, oh, I'm very logical, I'm a very rational person. Like I don't want to, like I can't accept anything that don't completely know about. Like that doesn't make sense to me, and I'm just a very logical person. So um yeah, God doesn't make logical sense. And doing faith is like if they go yada 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 rationalism rationalism. So that's what they have to work. So I feel like it's like different problems or aspects, and then it's just like a matter of yeah being open at first and just like it's not like I'm trying to give you religious advice by the way of like atheist.
Sure. No, no, no. It's fine. I love hearing the perspective, and it sounds like you're saying that different people, there's there's different paths for everybody, and almost like whatever this feeling or situation or God is implanted in people in different ways for them
Yeah,
to uncover it. And it's similar to what the Buddhists say: clean your mirror, and Christians would I don't know what they would say. What would they? I mean, look inside the or look.
remove the log from your eye before trying to yeah it's something like remove the log from your eye before like trying to get the stick out of your neighbors or something.
Okay,
Yeah,
would that be a metaphor for ego?
also yeah yeah like look at yourself first before you start like looking at others with like either contempt or like judginess because there's
Mm.
always something about you.
It makes me think of Marcus Aurelius. One of the quotes that I think of the most from him is whenever you feel like somebody's wronged you, ask yourself the question, when have I been like that? And I think that relates exactly back to, don't throw stones from a glass house. It's so easy to judge.
It's so easy to judge. Yeah, that's cool, that's interesting.
Because you were brought up in a Christian household, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. My my mom has like 10 siblings. Two are pastors, one married a pastor. My mom is like kind of a black sheep even of the family. Like she's a very nice person, but she's most like um rebellious as well in a sense because she really wanted to be like, oh, career woman. And like yeah, she has a very strong sense of self. Like she's a very strong presence, basically that like sometimes rubs people the wrong way. But the point is, like, we're actually less religious than most of our other like aunts and uncles. But like, I grew up like, yeah, within Sunday school and church, but I was always like, I never really took it seriously until yeah, until I just like eventually was like, I can't, like, I never rely on anyone as much as I rely on God. So he's always there for me. Like, he's literally never like failed me in anything. So I was like, I might as well, like, it's just like, shame on me if I don't believe in him, or if I don't like try to incorporate him into my life, you know? So that's how went about it, at least.
When did that happen for you? That sort of change and that recognition of that sort of uh, service or reliance, or I'm trying to think of the best word, companionship.
It's a long process. There was, of course, there were always times where I was like, this is the moment. This is the moment that I, like, my life will like change.
You're like in the ocean, just like the sun is raining down on you. There's birds flying by.
Yeah, for sure. Like, but it's like a series of, it's all the time, because it's like you have those moments and you have moments where you forget and you have moments where you try to bargain and you're like, well, but these like I've lived, yeah, you try to bargain, and then just that and that again and again and again, and you find just like yourself in the same situations until you finally realize what's going on. You finally open yourself up and you're just like, okay, like, yeah, because you think of him as your companion through all those times, then he actually becomes real to you.
Mm.
Well, he was real all along, or maybe you just like recognize that, and then that's how, like, if I heard myself, like, if 12-year-old me or 13-year-old me heard myself like speaking the way I am right now, she'd be like, "Are you serious? Like, you're talking like the adults in church. Like, what are you on about?" You know? But but yeah, it's just something you feel, and when you feel it, it's just like it's there, and when you speak about it, it's like it feels like the truth and it feels right. So um yeah, that's how I went about that companionship with God, I guess.
It's funny how the experience of church changes drastically from being a child to like the adults who are experiencing it
Yeah,
and everything in between and what people get out of that.
I don't think Sunday school and church really, I guess it like gives you some intuitive, or it's easier for you to accept it as truth, because it's kind of like you're brainwashed into it since you're like a kid and stuff. So even if you don't accept it, maybe it's you're more receptive to it, I guess. But on the overall, I don't think Sunday school or like growing up around that environment really pushes you in the right way to have that connection. Because yeah, there are just so many negative experiences I've heard from other people as well. Like, Sunday school didn't help me at all. It's not like at least I like to the extent that I think people think it's supposed to. Absolutely not. Like, it was like that personal decision is definitely more important than whatever environment you put yourself in. Like, that personal decision,
Mm.
having a relationship with God, or like whatever you think your higher being is.
So no matter what, at a certain point, you as an individual have to make that decision. Not have to, but you will encounter it, and only you alone will come to a crossroads of sorts.
Yeah, only you and you alone can put yourself through multiple crossroads of some sort, or like try to seek that presence in your life if it's something that you um like really want to seek. Of course, like, there are going to be situations, you will always be in situations where you're like sort of forced to, like, if someone's killing you, or like someone like holds a gun straight at your face, or if you like experience a really beautiful sunset, like, either of those two options, like, sometimes you just think of like, okay, maybe there is a higher power. Like, so there are those environmental triggers, and yeah, but on the, and that like makes it easier, but on the overall, it is like a continual personal decision, I feel, and then it eventually gets easier and easier. until like it's really embedded and like ingrained in you. So yeah.
And something that you trust and are faithful in.
Yeah, in that sense, it's something that you know a lot more since you've had so many various experiences with him or with it or with like that general religion in whatever it's like in your relationship with the universe or again like whatever higher being you put your faith in.
So, how do you bridge the gap, or what do you feel maybe there's not a gap? How does your experience with meditation and the light within the protective egg of your chest, how does that relate to some other sort of uh, being for you?
What's interesting is that it kind of doesn't. I think of meditation and the whole religious side as two very separate experiences. It's like I know the thing, the light thing is probably my soul or like me or whatever. But whenever I meditate, I don't really. Hmm, let me try to remember. Yeah, I
Take your
don't
time.
really bring. No, there's not really like much of a connection. There's some connection there somewhere, but and people in the Bible it says that meditation is supposed to happen like when you're meditating on scripture and that type of thing. But for me it's a bit separate right now. Maybe in the future it'll like coincide more, but because I do guided meditation, so and the Christian guided meditations aren't very appealing to me. Like I don't really vibe with them, so I don't really do them. The yeah, they're a bit too much sometimes. I'm like, okay, like I want my the normal ones back, like because I started with them, so I'm more comfortable with them. So
Yeah,
because of that, like you kind of have a set experience you go through when you're meditating, and that doesn't necessarily bring in like thoughts of God or yeah, it's just two separate experiences for me right now, but maybe again it'll coincide in the future.
what stopped you from trying silent meditations versus guided meditations?
Oh, I've done both.
Oh, you have?
Um,
Okay.
yeah. I noticed that at the beginning, guided meditations are good, but then as you go further along, like you enjoy silent meditations more and more because yeah, I think you're more comfortable with your inner self and you find
Hmm.
more joy or peace like exploring it, I guess. I do want to try those silent meditations that go last for like Vipsana, I think, like for weeks and stuff.
Damn, weeks?
Yeah, like a week or even a full week, just like silent meditate, go on a retreat type of thing. Like I would definitely be down to do that because again, like anecdotes for that are like crazy, but it also says it induces psychosis in some people. So maybe not. I don't know. Let's see. Like it's yeah.
I remember reading. It sounds so silly. I remember reading an article about that. I did. I remember reading this article about this woman that had happened to, and apparently it does happen every once in a while with people. And I suppose that that's the side of meditation and psychedelics and therapies that people are always reluctant to speak about because for so many people it's revelatory in the wonderful changes that can happen. I know that for me, I've been pushed to the edge multiple times, the edge of my sanity and the edge of my for will to live, really going through some of this stuff. I mean, that time where I either had a vision or astral projected or had a memory or a dream where I was on the floor. I mean, that almost is a, to me, my feeling, it was almost as intense as it could ever get. But what is cool about that is if you do make it out onto the other side, I also had this sort of amazing relief where I realized at a certain point you can't be any more on fire. Like if you're on fire and it's bad, at a certain point you can't get any more on fire. So if you're able to get through that, then you can find the strength really for anything. And I don't know how much I want to tempt saying I can handle anything. I don't want to tempt that. And at the same time I do feel a sort of like acceptance that yeah, I've pretty much seen for me as bad as it can get. And it was okay.
Yeah.
I think even the Stoics, they talk about where they would do exercises for like once a month or one day a month. They would wear shitty clothing and sleep on the floor and not eat just to prove to themselves that they could lose everything and they'll be all right. They'll figure it out. Because I feel like so much of specifically like us trying to create content online comes with so much insecurity and fear, and like we'll lose something if we fail, but in reality that was only an issue when we lived in tribes and would get kicked out and then die in the wilderness by ourselves. Nowadays it's Seth Godin talking about gatekeepers versus heretics. Nowadays heretics are celebrated. Figure it out, solve problems for people, use the leverage of the internet and get it out there and move past your fear, and magical things seem to happen.
That's true. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point of view, because that means like if we are able to repress that part of ourselves that evolved to that, then we can actually gain a lot from it. So yeah, maybe in the future, like people who are, yeah, we're gonna live in a world full of heretics. But actually, I think that's like highly improbable, because evolution nowadays is not like the same as it was before. But still, it's
But
a
I think
really
that's a really interesting point and insight in saying that there is room for some sort of movement or growth within people, and because we can move past some of the more primal base emotions or actions, perhaps there will be good news for humanity on the horizon.
yeah, and being like cultivating your inner heretic, I think, is and like allowing them to do what they want to do, and like repress again, like you said, that primal instinct, that primal urge to just like hide and not be driven, not want to lose everything, is very important. And that, like content creation, of course, is like a great way to do that, because you're also helping people. There are people. Oh, by the way, guess what? Yesterday I got 100 subscribers.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I reached my milestone. I mean, I reached a milestone. Yeah. I made it, Corey. No,
That's
but
awesome. It's amazing how good 100 feels. And
yeah, it is.
I mean, it's that is 100 real people who are like, I like what she has to say. I want to see more.
I know. It felt really good. Like I was on call with what we were doing. We were analyzing videos. Like it was me, Ben, Owen, and Jamie.
Okay.
And I asked Owen. I think Owen was my 100th subscriber. I asked Owen, like, "Are you subscribed to me, Owen?" Because I knew I was about to reach 100. And then when I reached 100, it just felt so nice. They were like, "Oh, congratulations!" So just like really happy moment, I
The
guess.
school community coming through, and you got to experience it with them.
Exactly. I literally could not stop smiling. I didn't even know it would make me that happy. I was just like, "Oh, I reached 100. That's sick. So cool."
That's a testament to what you're doing and the commitment and the work, and that's awesome. Congratulations.
Sorry. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Because I mean, we know that you can put out stuff and nobody will watch it. The algorithm can bury it. So the fact that you were able to reach that, it's proof of concept.
That motivates you to do more because it's like
Yeah.
there's people out there now. There's at least 100 people who are gonna
Yeah.
watch my 100 people, like 50 more. That's Dunbar's number. That's more like that. So I'm just like, yeah,
Talk
it's
about being a heretic out of the tribe, out of the Dunbar number.
exactly.
Look at that. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, it's the leverage and the connection of releasing content on the internet. I always heard about it from different people, but to experience it firsthand, it's magic.
It is. It really, really
I mean,
is.
this is it.
Yeah,
This is it. Literally, this
yeah,
conversation is
that's
because
true.
of making content online. It's magic. It's fucking magic.
It really is. And because of the internet as well, like I said before, 8 billion people is an unfathomable amount of people in the
Yeah.
world. Like it really, really is. Like whenever I think about how many people there are in the world, like it really, really blows my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the internet and creating content allows you to tap into that and access the power of that unfathomable number. So, I think that's,
Imagine 100 people in a room and you have their
yeah,
full attention.
it's cool. It's nice.
That's
And that's
spectacular.
beginning. And then obviously you're gonna grow, I'm gonna grow, and it's just gonna be um pretty fun. Like you're not I know you're not supposed to be too excited about anything, 'cause, like I don't know, it's like something psychological or whatever, but like I am quite excited and I'm kind of like high off the milestone, I guess, which is pretty fun. So yeah.
I wonder if the problem comes with attachment, meaning
Yeah.
enjoy the fuck out of this moment
Yeah.
and at the same time know what you do to have a healthy detachment from it. And I
Exactly.
think that's what I always struggle with because it's like, oh, you feel guilty about feeling so good about it, but enjoy it. And it's like but that's what's so hard is if you can enjoy it like that and then also be okay with, let's say YouTube cancels your channel tomorrow. Like, can you be okay with,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
and that's brilliant. So enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you, Corey. What's your next milestone, Corey?
I mean, I would really love to get to that monetization.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at I believe I'm at 533 right now with subscribers. I am about to, in a month and a half, reach my 2 year anniversary, which makes it sound a bit slow as far as getting to that number for subscribers. But I also know from analytics that I'm basically right in the average for what happens when you make a channel that's doing fine. It's not doing bad. It's not doing great. It's fine. Now, that being said, I would also like to get monetized and hit that number to feel like, oh, well, now it's real
Yeah.
because I get something that I can exchange for bread in the real world from this entity. That's where I'm at. I'm excited to get to the 1,000 subscribers and the 4,000 watch hours, which is right now the monetization standard with YouTube.
4,000 now? It's not 1,000 anymore?
Yeah, no, it's 4,000 watch hours within 1 year.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. All right.
Which, if you look, all it takes literally is just one video, and that makes me sound like a snake oil salesman,
True, it's true.
but
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
You
We
can get there.
do that. Like our group as well, like on Telegram, we're just like, okay, we just need one good video. We just need one good video. So yeah, reaching monetization would be so cool. It would be super, super fun.
I have worked with another channel where it was somebody who he had like 6,000 subscribers from, I'm not kidding, it was 8 years ago, but his channel was inactive. And he had saw what I was doing with my stuff, and he asked if I would help him release some content of his that he had.
Mhm.
And because he's a dear friend that I grew up with, I would love to help. So I helped him basically reset the channel by releasing all this content split up into small chunks. And he's a comedian, so he had all of this material to put out. And we put it out, and it was the same thing. It was just normal kind of growth over 4 or 5 months. But then I was like, oh, I'm going to just put out now the whole video that all of these clips were a part of. So the full live special that he had done, which was like an hour and a half long. And I put it out, and the same thing happened. It just was kind of slowly growing. But then about 2 weeks later, it exploded. It went completely viral. Now it has millions of views and it's made tens of thousands of dollars. It's it's real. I mean, I've
Awesome.
literally seen it happen. So I
That's
believe in
awesome.
you. I'm
That's
excited for you. And to actually see it, because you hear people talk about it. You can hear Ali Abdaal talk about it, or Matt Diavella, or all these people that we follow and respect and are walking behind. But to actually see it on a screen, see it happen, it's like, holy shit, no, that's real. Even someone like
yeah.
Tintin in our community, he's experienced massive growth with his subscribers, but mostly like he's had videos now over 100,000 views, which is like, if you can have 100,000, you can have a million. If you have a million, you can have 10 million. I mean, at a certain point, it's just you know how to play the game.
It's true. I'm so excited for the next person who gets monetized and like
Yeah,
our
yeah,
close like in the calls, the weekly calls that we have, like
yeah.
one of us, yeah, that would be super. Like I think it would be a celebration for everyone. That would be super, super sick.
As long as people keep producing and keep improving, there is no reason why it won't be multiple people just popping off. Truly,
Yeah, I
it
know.
it's so
Once
exciting to think about.
once we get the ball rolling, like with all of us, like once one pops off with the other one and the other one, the other, it's super fun. Like I
It
cannot wait.
Yeah, I mean, even within the past year, because this community has been about 10 months at this point,
Yeah.
watching the progress
Yeah.
that people have made who have been
Honestly.
consistent and who say, I just want to improve 1% per video. Those people, watching them, it's awesome. It is so inspiring. It is so cool. And it is real to see. The growth is real.
I know. I'm so excited for my friend because like they literally like for example Ben he publishes shorts every single day and you compare his videos now to his videos before, like massive difference.
Yeah.
And yeah, and all those school posts, and Andrew's gonna be so proud obviously. And yeah, and it's just gonna be um yeah, I'm unattached, but I'm excited for the future.
Well,
So
it
it's
is. It is magic, and I think it is cool to be excited about. I don't think any of us would have gotten into this without the excitement of, look, I can share the stuff that I love and am learning about with the rest of the world, and I can get paid for it, and I can have time freedom. It's like, what else it is exciting. What else do we want?
I can't believe that school is 10 months old too. Like I feel like the like all of you guys have like I've changed so much since the beginning of school from like the end like from now, It so it's like as we keep going and like all of our relationships get like deeper and stuff when we all like get to know each other more, it's again it's crazy to me like it's been 10 months. Like I went to different schools every year for like 5 years, so I'm very familiar
Oh,
with the yeah, because I was moved back and forth between the Philippines, Dubai, and like skipping grades and stuff. So sometimes I'd be in the same school but like with different batch of people. So Yeah, so I'm very familiar with like the whole cycle of okay, getting to know people and then like, and like yeah, and I get that. Like that to me is familiar, but like yeah, the fact that like school feels different, and so like 'cause I think it's also because like our mindsets are all kind of the same.
Yeah.
So like the same in the sense that oh, we want positivity and we all want to like push towards growth. So yeah, it just blows my mind that it's been 10 months. So I'm really like that makes me even more excited for how it's gonna go in the future.
Because how about the growth over 2 years
Exactly.
or 5 years?
Yeah. It's insane.
My
Like
parents, they laugh when I talk to them on the phone because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm talking to a friend of mine. She's in Dubai, and last night I was talking to another friend in Kuwait, and then another friend in Africa. They're like, wait, what? How how does that happen?
the
Internet.
internet. Yeah. Insane. A real life meetup as well with all of us sometime would be yeah, it'd be crazy.
That would be sick. We need to make like a Casey Neistat video where we all fly to Dubai and have a
Yeah.
fun meetup.
Or we can go somewhere out like super cheap, like Bali or like I don't know, some other place,
Ah,
you
that's an
know? And
interesting
then
idea.
somewhere we've never been before and like that's also cheap. Or like or whatever. Like not cheap because like we're loaded from our YouTube monetization or something. We can all go there and just like it'll be yeah. But first monetization and like 10,000 subscribers. Get there.
10,000.
10,000, yeah.
Now it's fuck 100. 10,000. That's where it's at.
That's the mantra. Like that's what we keep pushing towards. Like in the daily calls, it's like 10,000. By the end of the year, 10,000.
So what is
So
so 10,000? What's the special number with that, or what's the reason why it's 10,000?
because 10,000 is when you like it's because that's how I think that's how much you need to get into synthesizer university. And also
Oh, good point. Which is Andrew's um, more advanced version of the school that we are in.
exactly. And that's the next part, I feel. Yeah, it's looking up and it's just very nice.
What are you most excited about with your channel with exploring and releasing in the coming future?
Um, I'm excited for my new videos. Like I think I have some ideas that are like this one, for example, that are super cool. I'm still doing biotech, and honestly, like the results from just specifically biotech itself have been already like mind blowing to me. Like you don't understand um
What do you
the
mean?
because like I've loved biotech since I was like 12 or yeah around 12, right? So I started getting into it around 14. I stopped like I had favorite companies like Ginkgo Bioworks, for example, like their directors and everything, like their creative director, for example, Christina Agapakis. Like I remember I was 14, I was like watching her videos because she's like the creative director of the whole like biggest like most like, genetic engineering company in the world, you know? And then I started publishing content and then like posting it online and I tagged them at some point and seeing like the directors of that company that I've been like standing over. Like, I don't know if you should like stand a company, but it's like NASA, like it's the NASA of genetic engineering. So if that makes more sense. And they followed me on Twitter and they interact with
What?
my yeah, they interact with my like they like my stuff. Like they like my tweets and that like blows my mind. So that was one. And yeah, no, whenever I released a synthetic biology study guide recently, and then like people in bioengineering like followed me on Twitter, like as in they are people with PhDs, that sort of thing, just because of something that I put out, like as yeah, like I don't even have my degree yet, you know, and so that's insane. And also yesterday, like this person I was also stalking before, that I was like, oh, this person's so cool, like this person's so great. Like, he's a longevity dude, basically, Alex K. Chen, and he's like he used to be. I mean, he was a core celebrity. He's very into longevity and like living forever, that kind of thing. Like he works very closely with that field, And he messaged. I haven't opened it yet because I stayed up until 2:30 a.m. and I was like, okay, I cannot, like, you don't have the mental capacity to look at this. But he sent me messages, and it seems like it's because he enjoyed my content. Like, he sent me like several messages about it. Like, I saw the notifications on Twitter, and I was like, that's super sick. And like, it's insane. It's seriously insane. And because biotech is super niche field, like, and the fact that I'm making content in that field, like, that just like doubled, like tripled the effect it had, I guess. And that, so yeah, that to me has been super, like, I knew content could change things, but also it's like I didn't know it would be that quick, you know? So yeah.
Well, it speaks to the focus of what you've done and having the courage to synthesize and release content based on the things that you are learning and that you're excited about.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I it's it's definitely exciting, and it's definitely like too
You're getting
good.
me excited.
But yeah, that's what I have to upload a video this week though to not miss the deadline. And my college applications are due, like, my early ones are due in like a week as well. So that's gonna
Because
be
you're
tough.
you're trying to get you want to go to NYU, right? Or that was one of the schools.
Yeah, my
Oh, that seems like something's changed.
I want to go to NYU because it's perfect for what I want to do. But my mom is, and I get my family's pushing me to apply to Columbia, and technically, like, I could get in. Of course, it's like one of those schools, you know, that like you don't know, you could be like perfect and you wouldn't get it because like
Oh,
it's a credit.
really?
Yeah, like I have the grades, the scores, whatever. But like I wanted NYU because I knew that if I applied there, there was a very high chance that I would get in just because of like grade stats, like extra, like the college game. Basically, I played it super hard in high school. I'm so happy I took a gap year and like removed myself from that. But yeah, so I wanted that sense of security, and also because I'm applying for something with financial aid as well. Like I knew I would be more like, because I felt, it felt right basically. It felt safe. Taylor Swift graduated for that. I was like, okay, perfect. But then now my family is like, no, like you did all that work, like apply to like a really really good school. And so and it's a week before the early decision deadline, so I don't know what they, yeah, it's, I have to work harder. Basically, I have to finish my essays and submit that. And let's see what happens. Like honestly, at college, I don't really like. It's not. I used to care about it a lot, so not having to care about it a lot now, like being unattached from it, it's a super liberating feeling. You have no clue. Like it's insane. Like now, I was even thinking of like, what if I decide never to go to college and just like apply for Outdo Kirby's content director thing and just like take a completely different trajectory. It is that openness of like knowing again like that I'll be okay no matter what is something. But yeah, anyway, college decisions are this week, and I have to manage that with also like uploading a video, which should be fun. So,
Lots of things, all of the things.
yes, that's true.
Are you? What is? Do you have the video idea, or is the video going to be about applying to colleges?
No. I have a video.
No, 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 no.
Oh, imagine I I watched so many of those college videos in high school, like those college reaction videos, like oh my god, it's so cringe. But
You're past that at this point.
and that at this point, it's like, especially after meeting people, like for example, Victor, who literally dropped out at 15 and did not go to college, and he's clearly doing pretty well. It's like just showed really shows you that there are different paths in life, and like there's no point in trying to look or act smart if you're not happy with what you're doing, because that's
Mm.
something I definitely struggled with before. I was like, no, like being smart is like a part of me, but now it's like, okay, I'm dumb, or like I don't care, you know. It's like being much more secure with that part of myself is definitely like something I've seen myself grow with over the past year.
with taking a gap year?
Yeah, for sure. Thank the Lord I took a gap year. I swear to God. Yeah,
Gap years are a magical thing and they lead to magical places.
they do. And hopefully the gap year turns into a gap life. If I get 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, then maybe that would be more. Maybe I don't know. Maybe.
Say it sounds like you have some different big paths that you are excited to explore, but it's hard to have all of those at the same
Yeah.
time.
Chase two rabbits, you get none. So apparently. Yeah, it's fine. Like, it'll work out. It's not like right now I'm enjoying my life. I don't want to. The only thing is like I definitely do not want to do like the traditional academic path like the way I wanted before. Because before I was like, no, speed through college, but now it's just like it really doesn't matter. So
So, what would you be looking to? What's the path now that you would be looking to do, whether it be Columbia, NYU, or someplace else?
still the same. Go in, like check out because the reason I'm picking NYC, like I told you before, was because they have like great community labs for synthetic biology, and because like biomaterials is the hub in NYC. And so I'm checking the scene out for a while, like maybe a year or so, and then hopefully, like I'll drop out, and then you'll know that everywhere.
I won't, we need to keep that private. Like, hopefully, I'll get in and then drop out after a year.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Why not? Like, I don't want to do academia. It's not like I ever want to work at a lab. No, or like I do not see myself working in a lab for the rest of my life. I
So,
think
what's the purpose then of going just for 1 year? Is that to develop experience and networking?
yes, that, and also credibility of actually having gotten into like a university and like saying it's better to say I feel, oh, maybe that's a part of, no, I think it's just like good decision career wise, as well as like if you want credibility, if you want to talk about science in like as a content creator, of course, having that like those connections as well and like that background would be very useful. And
And
also
to
it's
be
NYC
able,
the
go
content.
ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it's NYC, it's great for the content and stuff. So that's
Oh, as
great.
far as like being like that's an unfair advantage to be living in New York City to
Yeah,
be able to use that in your videos. Yeah.
yeah, also that, yeah.
Have you ever been to New York City?
Yes, I have been in New York. I really liked it. It was
Yeah.
crazy. It's nothing like I'd ever seen before. Dubai here, the buildings are tall, the buildings are crazy, but they're not all packed together. In New York,
Yeah.
they're packed together. It's a
Yeah.
different sight. Yeah,
I
I really
lived
saw.
there for about 8.5 years.
Yeah, you liked it, right?
Well,
Well, you liked it, right?
well, for me, and it's always subjective. I'm going to come back to paradox because I struggled being around that many people all of the time and the amount of energy that that produced. But at the same time, whenever I was flying into New York City, I got this feeling inside of me that was so exciting. And that same energy that drove me nuts with people also just propels you forward into this amazing experience, especially being your age. I mean, I moved out there when I was 19, and it was, I will never forget those times. It's great. It's a great place to be. It's an adult's playground. It's awesome.
It makes me more excited. It's super fun. So yeah, but
Is
getting in would be the first step, obviously.
Yeah. Are you just applying to NYU and Columbia or any other space spots?
I'm gonna early decision Columbia, and thank God NYU has early decision two. So if I don't get into Columbia, then I can early decision two to NYU, and then hopefully I get in. But then after that, I'll just like apply to different colleges. Probably UC. I'll check out. But it's always either going to be in California, Boston, or New York because those are the biotech hubs.
Cali, baby. Have you
Yeah.
ever been to California?
Oh, I've never been to California, but I'm scared of California. I'm yeah. I think the horror stories I've heard from my friends that some of them go to like schools in California, like they're being followed around. They see dead people on the street. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's I, it's not it's because it's not like it's sensational or anything. It's like literally their anecdotes and people like barging into your car and like breaking the glass
Mm,
and stuff. I come from Dubai. Dubai is a very safe country. Like
yeah.
incredibly safe. You can walk outside at 2 a.m. You can leave your bag outside. No one will take it. That like that contrasts a bit much. So
Yeah, Los Angeles is not that. I mean, it is not safe in the way that you just described Dubai. Uh, Los Angeles is a very bizarre place because it is so beautiful and affluent, and also so. mm, it's like it's a Charles Dickens novel. You have the most affluent and the most poor existing in the same exact space, and that creates chaos.
that's insane. Like I can't even like yeah imagine that would like yeah the because yeah yeah that's insane.
It's
Obviously,
hard, and it's an impossible problem to solve. And everybody, people that you speak to, everybody has so much empathy for people
yeah,
in that are struggling, and at
exactly.
the same time, to have a city run efficiently, it's like, what's the answer? How do you navigate all of it? I don't know. I certainly don't know.
Exactly. But yeah,
I just
Cali.
remember being a little kid, and I grew up in Wisconsin in the United States, which is north of Chicago, and we're kind of like honorary Canadians. But Wisconsin is cold and cloudy from November until May. So I remember I'm sitting in my room on my bed with my little TV, and I would just watch the Weather Channel and just look at Los Angeles and just dream of living out there every day where it's 75 degrees and sunny
How is
every
it? How
day.
is it living 75 degrees every day in Los
So,
Angeles?
some people get sick of it. Some people say they hate it and they get sick of it. I honestly, I love it. Every single day I walk outside, I go on long walks every day. I love it. And also, there is a subtlety with the seasons here that I didn't really experience until I started walking for an hour or two or three every day outside. You see different plant, fauna, flora, weather, feeling. It's different throughout the year. It really is, and I love it. But that being said, I'm not sure I'm going to live here forever because of everything else that goes along with living here, the traffic, the amount of people. I mean, there's a lot of people here the same way that it's like New York. It's a different sort of busyness, but we'll see. Who knows?
Where are you planning to like go? Are you maybe going back to Wisconsin or Wisconsin or like somewhere else in the world or
I'm
back
not
to
sure. I
straight
I think about different places where I'd want to live or and what makes
top
sense.
top three?
I think of I've heard different actually Hermosi and Tim Ferriss talk about this, and I actually very much appreciate why they've chosen to live in the places that they live. And it was for reasons that I hadn't thought about previously. Things like access to an international airport within an hour drive, or like a half hour drive. Um, and then the various other things depending on what attributes are important to you. But I think Hermosi lives outside of Vegas, and
Oh,
Ferris lives in Austin.
Austin.
And yeah, no, so those seem Austin, Texas. So those seem to be two places that are very popular amongst us sort of weirdos, content creators, people. Um, but I'm not sure. I remember I got to go to Hawaii when I was in high school with our band, with our marching band. We went to Hawaii.
So fun.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing. We sold a lot of candy bars to make that happen. Uh, but I remember going there, and I remember getting off the plane, and I was like, I could live here. I
Live
could
in
live
Hawaii.
here.
That'd be so sick.
Then I could finish, honestly, then I would finish the trifecta of the three most expensive places to live in the United States because I've lived in New York City, now I've lived in Los Angeles, and then if I go to Hawaii, it's just I don't have a bank account anymore.
But it's beautiful and it's a place to settle down. And if when the content creation goes well, you will have a bank account too in Hawaii or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I don't know. Where do you see yourself? Because
In Hawaii, come on, that's crazy.
how about you? I mean, you have family. You have family in the Philippines. You have family in Dubai. And where do you see yourself after New York?
Or after New York, um, yeah, digital nomadic around for a bit. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, so in that sense, like there isn't a certain place, but I'd be willing to like settle down pretty much wherever my um, partner in the future like wants to go. I'd
Yeah.
be like, I'm a very adaptable person, and I'd just be like down to help them, like support them in like whatever way. So we like if they want to go to Europe, okay, let's go to Europe. If they want to live in Spain, sure, let's live in Spain. Like I don't really mind.
España.
Exactly. It says bachata. Yeah, it's super cool.
Hey. What? How come? How did you get into bachata? And like, what drew you to that? Because you've told me previously that you were someone who feels shy, and that's part of why we're doing this ego
Yeah.
meditation. How did you get the courage to go to these places and learn bachata and dance with people and participate in something that's so intimate and terror inducing for a lot of people, being on the dance floor?
I like exposing myself to if I know I have a weakness, I want to confront it head on. And so like I used to be I couldn't speak. I couldn't go on telephone calls. Like it would not absolutely not. Like it I used to be super socially anxious, couldn't talk to people. I think I gave myself that problem. But anyway, I had that problem. And
But
I was
just
like,
even
okay,
speaking to people on the phone, you were like, I'm not, I
no,
can't.
no. I would like burst into tears, and my mom was like, "Just talk to the person on the phone. Like, call the hotel." I'd be like, "No, I don't want." Like, I feel like
Whoa.
it's not like I'd rather die than speak to someone on the phone. So what I did was
Rejection of the tribe.
exactly, yeah, I don't know. Like, it was just like that shyness was so inherent. And but then what I did was I signed up for debate, and I kept like it was horrible at first, but I kept doing it. Yeah, for sure. Like speaking of, then I kept doing until like it got pretty like good at it. And then like other than fear of public speaking, there was also like horror movies. I am terrified of horror movies. But I love horror movies. Like I adore horror movies.
Now
It's
you
more
do.
I've yeah, I adore the fear. Like that ties into it, I guess.
Ah.
Like 'cause I'm super jumpy. Like anyone who's ever seen me watch a horror movie, like I'm the jump like
You were like David Goggins. You're like, I love the fear. Give me the fear.
exactly. I don't know who David Goggins is, but like yeah, something like
I'll send you some David Goggins stuff. Oh man, that guy, he is inspirational. He is awesome.
but yeah, and so bachata is like I've never been good at like moving my body. I've never been very confident moving my body. If someone asked me to dance, if someone I knew in high school, you told them I was dancing, like they'd be like, "That's crazy," you know? Like Mia Cardenas, like dancing, like so, like that just like out of the question. So I decided well my sister she is very good at dancing, she is the confident one. It's, oh my god, she is gonna start content creation soon and you guys are gonna like freaking love her. She's amazing and she's super talented, like she's super smart, she's so lovely. But anyway, she's a dancer. She is actually like very good at like super natural dancer, and she started dance lessons last year and now she's already teaching kids, like the instructors like yeah, like she was like she worked hard at it obviously, and she's homeschooled, so her progress was like better. But like now she's good enough, like all the instructors like love her and know her, and like she teaches kids now. Like they send her to cover the classes and everything. Anyway, the point is, during the first times I was bringing her to the studio, like form support, she like there was a bachata class going on, and like I saw the people moving and stuff, and I was like, baby, okay, this looks terrifying. And I was like, well, if you're terrified, do it. Like whenever I have that thought, like if you're terrified, like if you don't want to do it, go do it. Like I will literally bully myself into doing it. So I did it, and then I loved it, and then I kept doing it, and then so yeah, that's how I got into bachata.
That is an amazing sort of skill to cultivate when you have that feeling, I'm afraid, but you say, I'm gonna step through it and see what happens.
It's not a pretty no, it is not pretty. When you um debate, like the first few times was not pretty at all. Like it was terrible. Like it's not good. Like bachata the first time was not good. Horror movies, like I'm jumpy to the point of it being like absurd. And like roller coasters as well. Like I love roller coasters because again the fear, but like I will literally do that until I it's super fear, but like I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it anyway. And like the reactions my body takes to that are like sometimes odd. But like as long as you get to the end of it, that's
Your
the
pictures at the end when you get off the coaster and you get to see the pictures, you're like,
I literally I freeze up.
but you do it. But somehow you cultivated this sort of not talent, but you work through, you practiced moving through that fear, and now you've not become addicted to it, but you enjoy it.
I enjoy it, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because after you finish doing it, you're like, see, I did that, like, you can do anything or something. But the fear when you first do it, it's definitely real. But you should, like, if you're in LA, LA bachata, LA salsa is like a huge thing. So you should
I've done
see.
it. I've
You
done
done
it.
it.
Yeah.
You like it.
Yeah, it was great. It was great fun. A friend of mine invited me to a night of it, and I had so much fun doing it. I was terrible, but it was fun.
Exactly. It's terrible the first few times, but it was super. It's like once you're like pretty good at it as well. Since I just crossed like the 1 year mark, like and now I'm actually like confident in doing it. It's like it's super 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 home now. It's a different like level of joy. I don't think I'm as happy as I am doing anything other than dancing. Like I'm seriously is like the purest joy I've ever felt in my life. It's crazy. But yeah.
There is a sort of, I know we discussed previously talking about primal feelings versus a universal feeling, but there seems to be a bridge between that when we experience things like dance and music, and perhaps sport is on that plane for some people, like using our bodies in a way or experiencing it. There's something magic with it. I mean,
There
specifically with music and the way that it works with humans, and even storytelling, stories, watching a movie, reading a book. There is something there's something magical that it all taps into.
I agree. I 100% agree. It's like it's seriously again, like I said, it's the purest joy ever. It feels I don't know. It's so nice. It's so positive. Like I'm so again, like I'm so grateful for the gap year. Without the gap year, I would have you guys, would have freaking dads, I would have learned bachata. Like thank the Lord. Like,
Well, you did it. You made the decision, and then you stepped into the experiences that you wanted. It's not like you took the gap year and just did nothing with it. You made the things happen that were interesting to you, and I think that's just awesome.
thank you, Corey. That's very nice of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to end on that sort of joy. I'm getting tired.
So Oh, 30. Thank you for staying up.
This is great. It's great talking with you. I congratulations again on 100 subscribers, and we'll see you at 10,000.